All right. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Can everybody hear me okay? We had some technical issues last time with my microphone. Want to make sure that we're good to go this time around. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jen Carl. I use she, her pronouns. I am our neighborhood safety coordinator over here at the GSBA. Thank you so much for spending your Tuesday night here. We're going to go ahead and get started to be mindful of our very special guest time. I have the honor tonight of introducing this group to Officer Haden Barton, who I believe it was back in November that he officially began as our LGBTQ plus liaison. My puppy is also clearly very excited about you, Haden. Uh, but I had the privilege of watching Haden through training during last June's Pride events and all of the things before he was officially instated. And I will say we are super, super lucky to have him as our liaison. And I'm very grateful that he is here tonight. So I believe he has a bit of a presentation for us, and then we will go ahead and open it up to Q&A. So Officer Barton, I will toss it on over to you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Jen. It has been over a decade since I've done any sort of PowerPoint presentation, so we're gonna see how this goes. Um, Bearing with me, all. Okay, so I'm Haden Barton. I'm originally from South Carolina. I have been um, in Washington State for over a decade now. I originally I got my bachelor's degree from the University of South Carolina, the original USC. We were a school before California was a state. So when I say USC, I'm talking about South Carolina. But I moved here, never really looked back. I love Washington. It's gorgeous. I applied and got on with SPD in November of 2019. Um, I only applied to SPD. It's the only place I wanted to be. I spent 6 years with the department on patrol here at East Precinct. Um, Before getting this position, I worked on second watch a little bit, and then we switched to from a 9 hour schedule to a 10 hour schedule. I switched to first watch. I've always kind of been a morning person. I usually still do mornings. I get here most days at 5 because I am an early morning kind of guy. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. Let's see. How about now?
Yep, now we got you.
Aha, there we go. Let's see. I seem to have lost y'all. There you are. Okay. So in 2014, the LGBTQ plus liaison position was created. Officer Jim Ritter was appointed to the program. He was one of the first LGBTQ liaisons in the country to be a full-time law enforcement LGBTQ liaison. In 2015, a year later, he launched the Safe Place program. The program received a United States trademark and copyright program that same year. In 2018, the Safe Place window decal was updated from the report anti-LGBTQ crimes to report hate crimes. This update was to encourage victims of hate crime, not just those related to LGBTQ community, to seek help with the Safe Place program. Then in 2019, Officer Dorian Corio took over and Officer Ritter retired. In that same year, the Safe Place program was issued a Canadian copyright. It's for that little rainbow logo, rainbow badge logo that you'll see. In 2020, a QR code was added to the Safe Place program window decal. It was to improve accessibility to the program. In 2021, Safe Place window decals and related paperwork to launch the program in local businesses were translated and published into Chinese, Korean, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Somali. and those have their own window decals in those languages for those communities. In 2022, Officer Corio was recognized for his ongoing efforts to assist other law enforcement agencies in developing policies, procedures, and training programs focused on bias, hate crimes, and LGBTQ plus inclusion. Officer Corio was awarded the International Association of Chiefs of Police, or the IACP's award, for leadership in human and civil rights. He became the third individual in North American law enforcement and the youngest individual recipient ever to have won this award. And then in November, I took over as liaison as Officer Corio was promoted to sergeant and was reassigned to the North Precinct Patrol. It's the way that our promotions work is when you get promoted, they like to move you around regardless of kind of what position you're in. So it's just standard practice to move him. And so yeah, so I've been here since November. So a few things that I do. Not everyone knows what I do or the purpose of the position. So just a few things about what my role entails. The LGBTQ plus liaison position is a full-time sworn officer position within the police department and falls within the community outreach unit. My unit consists of 3 officers and 1 civilian and is run out of headquarters in downtown. While I do have a desk downtown available to me, I mainly work out of the East Precinct due to proximity to the community that I serve. I also personally just prefer working on the Hill. This is where I've worked for my entire career, and it just makes sense for me. So I'm up here in the East Precinct. If you're ever nearby, I'm right here. Um, I'm the only full-time sworn LGBTQ liaison in the state, and SPD is the only city department that has a full-time position solely dedicated to the LGBTQ community. I co-chair the LGBTQ plus advisory council along with a civilian who does not work for the police department. His name is Mac McGregor. If his name sounds familiar to you, it's likely because he's been nominated for Community Leader of the Year through the GSBA's Impact Awards. We host this meeting, the LGBTQ plus advisory council meeting, once a month on the second Wednesday of the month from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. across from the precinct in the 12th Ave Arts Building. It's free and open to the public. This council was created in 1997 and serves as a bridge between the community and the police department. East Precinct Captain Britt and Deputy Chief Andre Sales also attend the meetings to give a broader view of the department and aid in fielding community questions. Because I'm still just an officer, it's nice to have some folks from command there that can answer some of those higher level questions that are not necessarily under my purview. So I also work on LGBTQ plus hate crimes. So our police department has 1 detective that's assigned to work bias and hate crimes. I assist her on LGBTQ plus related cases that come across her desk. I reach out to the victims and take kind of a victim advocacy role on those cases, typically sending them resources and information on how their case is likely to proceed and all of the various things within the city that are available to them as a victim of crime. Since I am a sworn law enforcement officer, I often end up aiding in their case in that capacity as well, since victims often remember additional useful details after their initial report. I serve as a single point of contact for the LGBTQ plus community within the department for any needs that arise. Safe Place. Safe Place has now been live for over a decade. We have over 7,000 businesses within the city that have joined the program. As of January of this year, we have 370 law enforcement agencies worldwide that are now running their own Safe Place program. SPD has trademarked and copyrighted the initiative, and any law enforcement agency that's running their own program within their jurisdiction has been through Seattle's training and approval process. I also work with Pride, so I'm the liaison that works on all Pride events and serves as liaison for over 42 different events in June. I work on public safety plans for the events in coordination with our city's special events program manager. And in 2024, when Dorian was the liaison, he logged over 200 hours of Pride-related meetings within the various organizations and events. just going to blast through some of these things and then we can get to any sort of questions here. I know a good chunk of y'all are businesses and business owners, so I wanted to touch on some of these things here. If you've reached out about adding Safe Place into your business and haven't heard from me, it's because I'm working on revamping some things on the program and with a new liaison and a new project coordinator, me. A lot of those things need to be updated with my information and brought into some of the current things that we're dealing with. But if you've applied and not gotten a sticker yet, it's because you're still on the list, just haven't gotten to you yet. If you're interested, this QR code will take you right to the application process and get you signed up. And then I'll get you information as soon as we have it ready to send out. Joining the program as a business is super simple. You only have to agree to abide by these two rules. And this is actually exactly what's posted in these businesses once you're on the program. This is what is posted on the employee only side. We do ask that you call 911 when someone comes in and reports that they're a victim of crime. We ask that you note whether or not it is a hate crime, but that doesn't change the fact that we'll come out for any sort of victim of a crime. And then make sure that the victim is allowed to stay in a public area of your business. I've had some businesses ask me if they should bring the victim back into the back. Please don't do that. It puts your business in jeopardy. Just allow them to stay in a public area. It's safer for you. It's safer for everybody involved. And then once you sign up, we can get you a decal sent either by mail or I can come hand one off to you if you prefer. And then again, this just goes to your employees and it gets posted in the back. Working on getting that finished up and finalized. I have a handful of folks that are ready to send out now. If you're interested in looking at the website, it is spdsafeplace.com. It has more information. You can just click on the businesses tab that has a few more informational items on there as well. And then some upcoming events, the LGBTQ Advisory Council meeting is going to be, the next one is March 11th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The 1620 12 Ave, which is that 12 Ave Arts building. It's on the second floor. We have signs up there in case you forget. The March meeting will be with Captain Nelson, and he's going to come in and talk about some FIFA things. He is the captain over FIFA, and I know our community has had a lot of FIFA questions, so this will be a perfect time to get some of those questions answered. The East Precinct, Our City, Our Safety, where the chief comes in and talks with community members. The next one for the East Precinct will be April 8th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in the Miller Community Center. It does butt up right against our advisory council meeting, and we likely will be canceling that meeting in lieu of trying to push a lot of our folks to the Our City, Our Safety. This is my information. Again, I'm your LGBT liaison. That's my work number. That's my email. Again, I work here out of the East Precinct, and that's your Safe Place info if you're interested in applying. I know I speed ran through a lot of that, so if anybody has any questions, I see a few things in the chat. And hopefully, I see Rick, hopefully there was a PowerPoint now. Does anybody have any questions?
We have the privilege of having Haden right up until 6 o'clock. So
Yeah,
now's the time to pepper him with questions.
Hayden,
Go ahead, Rick.
I'm a little confused, and
heard anything about whether
seems
FIFA's going to be doing Pride or not?
I know I heard a couple things. Michael, can you go first?
I said, have you heard anything about whether FIFA's actually going to be doing Pride or not?
I mean, I haven't heard any change of plans on anything. I don't know. So the city has their own Pride events planned, right? We've got the Pride Parade coming up around the same time as the Pride. I don't remember the exact dates, but there's the Pride game. I don't know that FIFA is hosting anything in particular outside of that. yes, the Pride Parade is happening, but as far as like FIFA things, I don't know. Rick.
Yeah, you mentioned this April 8th meeting, and of course, just had the LGBTQIA Police Advisory Council. We've got this.
Mm-hmm.
There's the regular GSBA safety meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a new one that you mentioned on April 8th. And I guess I'm just wondering, do we need all of these meetings focusing on one thing, and how are they really different?
So the Our City, Our Safety is a thing put on by the chief where he's going into the community and doing this community by community. And the April 8th one is the one that's specific to East Precinct, which is why we will likely be canceling our LGBTQ advisory council meeting in lieu of sending folks to the Our City, Our Safety meeting. So that
Okay,
we don't
these are
have a
the
bunch of different
chief
meetings.
level. Okay.
Yes, it's the Chiefs meeting.
Aaron?
Hi, Hayden. Thank you for your presentation. I was just curious, is the Safe Place program something that non-businesses could participate in? Like I live in a residential neighborhood with like apartment buildings and things.
It is not for residences, it is for public places only. So
Okay.
we've got some libraries on it. If anywhere that is public facing that has like a generally available to the public area, then we could go with that. But if it's a private place, no, we don't bring that in for the safety reason, right? Like you don't want to bring people into a private area.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask a question, but I'm not going to ask it to you, Hayden. I'm going to ask it to the rest of the group. While we have Hayden here and are completely putting him on the spot, I think a conversation that has come up a lot that I would love to see this group take is how we want to utilize Hayden. I think in every space he's in, we kind of have this reoccurring idea of what he does versus what we think he should be doing versus what maybe some other tasking bits are that are being added to his plate. So I would just love to hear from anybody on this call, really, what we kind of feel we would love to see from Hayden. And Hayden, that may be a weird question for you to sit through, but I feel like it might be helpful.
No, I mean, I appreciate that, Jen. That's something I've done with the advisory council, is put out surveys to see what folks want, because just because the way that we've always done something doesn't necessarily mean that's the way we should continue to do it. So some of the questions I've asked on that survey is, like, what have we done well? What do you like, right? Like, what should I keep doing? And then what do you not like, right? Like, if I don't have to do it and the community hates that we're doing it, like, why are we still doing it? So yeah, I'm open to feedback. Whatever you guys got. Whatever you folks got.
Elo.
For being on the call, really appreciated. My question is, I think there's some feedback. Oh, my question is, when things happen within SPD that are kind of borderline, or that people really sense as maybe even hate speech, like the body cams that just became available from Cal Anderson Park back, I think in May was when the Christian group / concert happened and there were protesters. What happens internally within SPD? Is there any inclusion training? Is there any sensitivity training? Like, what happens?
So we'll touch on a few things. So training we have, there's training that that comes through when you come into the department. There's bias training, there's LGBTQ training, there is trans specific training. Mac actually hosts that training. And then as far as like yearly training after that, a lot of that comes from the Washington State Criminal Justice Commission. And then the anything that would be like you did something you shouldn't have, type of like remedial training, that's going to come through a lot of those accountability partners, right? Like we have the CPC, the OIG, the OPA. That's where that would come through, and then it's going to come. It's going to depend on the severity of the violation as to what gets decided upon, like how that course correction goes. And I'm not familiar with what sort of repercussions these folks are getting for their misbehavior.
Thank you for that. And I'm assuming that probably relates to all marginalized communities. So anything like racist would be treated the same way.
Yeah, it's all going to go through those accountability partners as far as the review of what the violation was and the determination of what the proper correction for that violation is going to be.
Okay.
Hayden, as a kind of follow-up to that, could you speak a little bit to the before the badge training? And then Simon and Rick, I know you both have things, so we'll hop to you right after that.
Yeah, so the before the badge training, they go through a lot of like community meet and greets. There's the next one, March 2nd, 5 to 7:30, 5:30 to 7:30 is the next one. They come in and meet with the community members. And then they go through that training that I was talking about. I think it's an 8-hour bias training, a 4-hour LGBTQ plus training. Dorian, Sergeant Corio teaches that one, and then Mac teaches the 4-hour trans-specific training, where the recruits, right? Like they're not even in the academy yet, learn about the history of our community and the history of the community in relation to the police department, just to kind of let them know kind of where the community is coming from, right? Like all the institutional harms that have come through historically, and so they have a little more understanding of where we're at. Some folks, right? Like some folks, the first time that they ever meet someone from our community is going to be in those trainings. It shouldn't be out on the street, right? Like that should not be the first time they're meeting someone from our community. I don't know, it feels like a long answer to a short question.
Too much information is better than not enough, in my opinion.
All right. Simon, I heard you start to ask a question.
Yeah. So, in the queer community, we have a lot of discussions about like de-escalation, and there's numerous de-escalation trainings, that are taught and geared towards the queer community in that. But I think, towards establishing relationships between SPD and the queer community, having you as the LGBT liaison teaching some of those, I'm assuming being a police officer, you have training in de-escalation techniques and stuff. Generally, cops are allegedly fairly good at that. Having some more classes, workshop style things offered by the police to teach some of those police skills to people when it comes to mediation, de-escalation, safe intervention and stuff, I think would make our community safer and go a long way towards establishing trust with SPD, and getting a bit of behind the scenes knowledge of like what they're trained and supposed to do, so that when you see them not doing it, you're more aware of, what procedures were not followed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I was an FTO. I was a field training officer before I got this position. So I trained a lot of those new recruits coming out into the field. Something I always recommended for them is the state has a 40-hour CIT course that I cannot recommend enough. And you can go to that as soon as you're off of probation. So like once you hit your 1 year, you can go, and the department's pretty good about sending people. And that touches on so CIT is the crisis intervention training. It touches on a lot of the de-escalation that you're talking about. I think it makes you a more well-rounded officer. I have a background in psychology, so a lot of it was just kind of a refresher for me. But like a lot of these folks like don't have that, and it's a good spot for them to learn some of the things that you should be dealing with, because we do deal with a lot of people suffering from mental illness. And yeah, thanks, Simon. All right, Rick, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that you read the report that came out this week. That essentially said that the event with at Cal Anderson was not well handled from a variety of perspectives, from the permit, from the police not having the connection with the community at that time, and maybe some lack of planning. And I'm assuming that's getting its way around and going to get some action. But I didn't see any statement about the video cameras, and I'm curious if you know why. First question. Second question, you want to tell us about the announcement of our previous captain before Britt, and I'm going to tell you that the information that was printed in Publicola about him was the first thing you found as soon as you Googled the man. So how did that happen?
You know as well as I do. I have no idea. Those sorts of decisions are made well above me. I don't get a say on who the captain of any precinct is going to be. I found it to be an interesting choice because I, like you and anyone that Googles the man, wouldn't have recommended that. And it went as well as I expected it to. But again, I don't get a say in those sorts of things. I think it was quickly course corrected, and I believe we have the correct person for the job there now. Captain Britt has been pivotal in managing the Pride Parade on a few different years. He worked very well with Sergeant Corio when he was in this position. I've never seen him do anything that gives me any cause for concern. As far as the report, today is my Monday. I don't work on Mondays. I did print it off. It is 81 pages. So I have not read it all yet. I'm not super versed in it just yet. I much prefer...
You can read the first page and that's all. The rest of it is repeating the same thing over and over again.
Okay. I would hope that this is something that we can learn from. But I haven't gotten to get with my with Captain Brett and whoever else above me is going to have any sort of impact on making sure that we have better procedures going forward. The whole point of POET is to de-escalate these things. So I don't know where the miss was, but obviously it was not a win for the day for us or the community.
Among other things, there weren't enough POET people there. And
I don't know that we have enough. Like what is enough, right? Like I know that there's less than 10 of them, right? Like what is enough, right? Like we've got 700 and some change officers total for the whole city.
I think there were two there, and there were a lot of planning, and I don't want to get into it because I'm sure that those things will change. And I do want to reiterate the fact that Captain Britt and I call them the 3 J's. Jim,
it's everybody but me. Yeah. Everybody but me. Yeah. and then Jen, you add her into the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are all good people. and
Mhm.
I'm really pleased to have met them and see them there. And so I believe that these things are going to be taken care of in the future. But I didn't hear anything about the people caught on their body camera. And do you know where that is?
Hayden, I'll take this one because I know you're extremely tied in what you can say here. So anything that is under current investigation, whether that is through OPA or through another accountability body, no one from SPD can comment on. And because
Okay,
that's still an active OPA investigation, no one from
gotcha.
SPD can make a comment yet. So there
Okay,
probably will be something dropping. They just can't say anything right now.
okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think the department has made a comment on the OIG's report yet, so I'm sure that's coming as well. So yeah, and there's been a few things in the news that were not wins for our department last year. So I've got
It's been a bad week for SPD.
a bad week. We're on day two. Oh no.
The article about 911, and the two lawsuits.
Is that Publicola? I feel like most of the time when you tell me articles, you're talking about Publicola.
No, Seattle Times about the handling of crisis calls. And then you've had the two lawsuits that were just settled too. So it's
Yeah. I'm aware of those. Okay. Yeah. Well, anything that an officer level can do for you? I know I'm the small guy in the pyramid here.
I have another question.
All right.
The safety meetings and calls that we have within GSBA, a lot of those talk about public safety from a traffic standpoint. It's not always violence, etc. It's traffic related. And just yesterday, we had two horrific traffic accidents with a loss of life. And
Yeah.
in our meetings last time with the advisory committee, we talked about who tracks traffic incidences at the city level, and is there any data available where we can look what are the hot spots, especially on Capitol Hill, and who connects the dots on that? Is there such a report even in existence? And if not, why not, and who could start reporting out on that data?
I mean, Captain Britt is really good about tracking the crimes that are happening in his precinct. So he might be your go-to guy on that one. Aside from like whatever our crime dashboard on our like seattle.gov/police, I don't know if you can whittle that down to traffic. So that might be a little harder look there. I can definitely ask and get back to you on that. Of course,
Yeah, that'd
Michael
be
and
great.
Simon are going to have the answers.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay, yeah, so it looks like Michael put in a good link there.
Hayden,
Traffic volume
Chris,
and crash data.
yeah, Chris did ask, is there anything the community can do to help support you in your position?
I keep getting that question, and I don't know. I don't know yet. I think I'm still trying. Like, if we're really honest, I'm still trying to like figure out where my position is. I prior to getting this position, so the way SPD works is in January of the year, you put in all of your time off requests for the whole year. And so I had a month off scheduled for this last like December, January. So I came in November and then was here for a couple of weeks and I took a month off. And so like I'm still like really getting rolling. It's part of why I haven't gotten any of the Safe Place stuff sent out yet because I'm still trying to revamp a bunch of it. So it says Officer Barton and not Officer Corio, and like has a few other fixes on a bunch of the stuff. I forgot what your first question was. How you can support me. I'm still figuring it out. But thank you for asking. Matt has had his hand up for a minute.
Thank you, Officer Barton. Really, I think we're all really lucky to have this position in Seattle. I've worked with all of your predecessors over the years.
Cool.
It's really important for the community, even as there are ongoing learnings to be had in SPD with the community for sure. And so, as you are figuring out your new position, how do you envision, or how has it been explained that you will take these connections, these really meaningful links with the community that you are building every day, and how do you take it the other direction into SPD? Do you report just up to the chief, the precinct captains? Do you do regular conversations with the East Precinct, with other precincts, with the various divisions who interact with the community? How does what you learn, the goodwill that you create, then go to the rest of SPD?
Yeah, so I'm an East Precinct guy. My office is here in the precinct. So I just walk downstairs and I chat with Captain Britt and Lieutenant Go Hagen, or I walk next door. The Joe Ellenboss, your safety coordinator, is one room over here, right? And I talk with those guys all the time. So I'm very connected with East Precinct, both in the precinct and outside of the precinct. And then as far as like outside of that, I think it's kind of where my like headquarters desk comes into play, as I try and as much as I don't like going into headquarters, I try and go over there and like, do a little bit of a meet and greet and like talk to people over there as well. And I made my first trip up to the 8th floor at headquarters the other day, and showed face over there and talked with a lot of people up there. I've been a cop for 6 years and I've never been to the top of headquarters. Like, it's just not the place you go unless you're in trouble, and I don't get in trouble. So but it's it's a work in progress. To answer your question, I'm very connected with East, and then I'm working on building a lot of those bridges with headquarters and beyond. I do have 6 years under my belt, so I know a lot of folks around the department, right? I'm connected with North Precinct because Sergeant Corio is up there now. I have a very good relationship with him. He kind of took me under his wing this last June, gave me the opportunity to come in. And I was side by side with him for all of June this last year, which makes it a little less scary coming into this Pride season. And I'm going to be on my own this time, but at least I've done it accompanied once. And then I'm familiar with Captain Nelson. He's running the FIFA thing. Because of the work that I've done in this position last year, and then also just knowing him from him being around the East Precinct as well. I do a weekly report. It's part of the community outreach unit. All of my meetings, a lot of the way that the outreach unit is done is your job is quantified into meetings, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's just the way that it works. And so they want to know how many meetings you went to, how many people attended the meetings, how many hours you spent at these meetings. So I do a little spreadsheet and then notes on what each meeting was. And so like they get that report, and that goes through the community outreach unit all the way up to the mayor's office. I'm told that it gets compiled and goes to the mayor's office. But I mean, I'm also a part of the community, and so like seeing some of these things that are coming out that our officers shouldn't be doing is also equally disappointing. And so like just trying to figure out how we curb some of that. I'm right there with you. I'm queer and I'm a cop, and so I know exactly the things that are disappointing for me on both ends of the fence to see from our folks. I don't know if that answered your question, Matt. Simon?
Yeah, so that explains a bit about your relationship with like the rest of SPD and how that reports, which begs the question, what is your relationship with like council members and the city attorney and the mayor? Do you ever have meetings and report directly to them? Do you ever do advising on like legislative safety issues that have come up as they intersect the LGBT community, or are you basically just corralled inside of SPD all day?
It's an interesting way to put that at the end. But I do live mostly with SPD. I think there's enough work to be done between local law enforcement and the LGBTQ plus community that I don't necessarily know that it's really my place to be working on some of those other things, especially with how much I already have on my plate. Um, but I am open to meeting with those people. I've told folks in this meeting before that if the door is closed, my goal is that it's not because I closed it. There are some folks that were very upset that this position sat empty for a couple of months between Dorian and I, and those folks are now that I'm here are not interested in me attending their meetings. So, you know, I'm here for the community in whatever way they want me there, right? Um, so if a council member or the mayor want to meet, like I'm happy to meet and chat. I have a few connections with the mayor's office, and they're friendly with me, and I'm friendly with them. I'm not here to to close off those connections. If they need something from me, I'm happy and to assist with that.
To
My
that
goal is to,
extent,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
No,
To,
what you
to
got,
that
Sam?
extent, I will say, on the topic of how can we support you in your role, I know something I've taken a pretty firm stance in is, trying to justify the legitimacy of the liaison position within community, and try to, fight for you to be in those spaces because I think it is important for you to be rooted in community. Otherwise, you can't do your job. And so I would encourage anyone in this room in conversations with other queer community members to, you know, just justify the legitimacy of the position because otherwise it's not going to work for anyone.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Simon. Some of the things I've had. All right, thanks for coming, Rick. It was good to see you. Some of the things I've come up against is people see law enforcement, especially within our community, see law enforcement as big and scary, and they're just kind of come in and take you to jail, and that's not my purpose for these meetings. I'm here to help build that bridge. I work in community outreach, right? Like I'm here to do community outreach, and so just trying to get that point across of I'm just here to build a bridge and start a conversation. I come from the advocacy world. I worked for a national nonprofit after I graduated college. Did some time with that. I was actually working at the Atlanta Pride when we found out that we'd won gay marriage. It was awesome. But that's the world that I worked in before I got here. And so I I know that we can be better and have better relationships than we have. And I know that we will get farther when we work together. Um, and yeah, and so my position is whatever the community wants it to be. Um, you know, we law enforcement's not going away, and neither is the queer community. So let's find a way to. I know, Michael. The you know, it's we got to find a way to work together. Let's figure out a way that the community finds policing to be acceptable and um, see if we can work toward it.
Well, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for coming out, Officer Haden. We really appreciate you just showing up and talking through things with us and being at different meetings in different parts of the community. I know it is hard for you to get into meetings sometimes. And so one thing we can do to support is just press getting you into meetings with people. Yeah, thank you for coming out. And just want to acknowledge that and, the precarious position that you're going to have to balance out through this because you'll build a lot of trust with us and SPD will soak it up and destroy it at times. And you'll have to sit there and keep building it and working through what you're doing. So it can be kind of thankless. But yeah, just remember there's people here that do support you and have wanted good people in policing for a long time. So thank you for doing what you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael.
Hayden, we do have another question. I will not make this person ask. I will go ahead and be the liaison here and ask for you. Which is, are you aware that all of the gay boys in Capitol Hill have a major crush on you and your dinosaur shirt?
No, but I do love my dinosaur shirt, and I appreciate the love that my dinosaur shirt gains. That is so fun fact for those of you that don't know about the dinosaur shirt. I when I worked with Sergeant Corio for the month of June, we had a day where he said, "This is a plain clothes day." And I said, "Great." So that means to me, you don't look like a cop. So I showed up in a button. It was still a button down. It had a collar. It was nice, but it had dinosaurs all over it. And it was like, like multicolored, right? So like it's kind of rainbowy, right? It was a hot day, so it was a cool shirt. And Dorian made fun of me for it. He was like, "What are you wearing?" And I was like, "You told me to blend in. I'm blending in." And he looked like a cop. He had like a regular polo and it tucked into his khakis, and I was like, "You look like a cop." And so I made I that day got quite a few compliments about my dinosaur shirt from the community because it's an awesome shirt. And so every time I got a compliment, I would look at Dorian and be like, that's yeah. And so that's the dinosaur shirt. It's from Pride. Thank you. I appreciate the dinosaur shirt love.
It's a great shirt. I don't know what Dorian was talking about.
It'll have to make an appearance this June, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was Capitol Hill Pride. You wore it last time. So
yeah, we were up on the hill up here walking in the crowds. It was a very crowded event.
It was very hot.
It was very sweaty.
Yeah. On that note, we have 5 minutes left. So is there anybody else who has any questions, any comments, anything to bring up while we are still blessed to have Hayden with us? I just made it sound like you're dying. I'm so sorry.
I will hopefully be here for quite a long time.
While we have Hayden on the call.
I make it a point to be super available. So you've got my email. It's my first name dot last name. There is no Y. Don't put a Y in there. It doesn't go. If you can't remember my name, you can also do SPD_LGBTQ at seattle.gov. That also gets straight to me. The number, somebody put it in here, is also, it's my work, my desk phone here. If you leave a voicemail, I'll get back to you. But just reach out. I'm not scary. If you need something, you've got a question, send it on over. I will also be at the coffee chat. I wrote it down around here somewhere. It's Thursday. This 2 days from now at 9 a.m. Allison hosts those. I'm much better with the in-person fireside chat kind of ordeals. So if you prefer in person or just want to join Allison's event, that's this Thursday at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
again, I've been trying to go to a bunch of things. To Michael's point of like, and Simon's point of like going to meetings and like I'm just trying to get my name and face out there, let people know, because a lot of folks don't even know that my position exists. I saw that the SGN wrote a recap of what the 80-page SCR, the Sentinel review was, and one of the things they wrote, that the recommendation was that the LGBTQ liaison be a full-time position, and it's like, it is a full-time position. I'm here all day. So hello, nice to meet you all.
Yeah, so the coffee chat is at Wonderground. Yeah. Chris normally has that link handy. Chris, if you don't mind dropping that in the chat real quick. And thank you. It's like he was reading my mind. And then also, Hayden, are you going to Impact Awards? Will we see you at Impact Awards?
I think I should buy a ticket or two. I got Allison's email this morning about it, and so I suppose I should go and find a tie to wear. So.
You need a rainbow dinosaur tie, is what I'm hearing.
I don't know that I will be allowed out of the house with something that fun to a fancy event, but I will probably be in a tie and a suit jacket for once. So
Fair enough. Okay.
yeah, I'll probably be there. I got approval from my better half that we will go to that. So.
Okay. Awesome. Does anybody else have anything with our last 3 minutes?
Well, I just want to say thank you for being in this position and that this position exists. It's not the norm across even Washington State that something like that exists. So grateful for that. And I'm excited to work with you more in the future. And hopefully we can set up a recurring meeting between you and GSBA to just collaborate and partner on things coming up.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, likewise to echo Alona, Officer Barton. My name's Hayden. Also, I have the privilege of sitting on GSBA's board. Just echoing from the board angle as well. Very grateful for you being here. Grateful to have you in role, and eager to continue working with you.
Thank you.
And GSBA, thank you. You've gotten off to a great start in 26. You had the CARES meeting before. Hayden, great to meet you and really appreciate you taking the time, and GSBA for educating the community.
Thanks, Erin. I appreciate that. Hayden, just from my standpoint, with as much crap as I give you, you know how much I appreciate you being a huge partner to me personally and professionally, but also to our community. So can't thank you enough and really appreciate you jumping on with us tonight. As always,
Yeah,
if you need
absolutely.
anything, let us know.
Likewise.
Cool. Thank you, everybody, so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.